It's time for another carrier product update. Tune in as we talk directly to the carriers about their new plans, any new network options they have, or which plan designs offer the most savings, and learn about the tools and resources they offer to help you generate more business. Visit our website to learn about all of the carriers we quote in our Carrier Product Update series. I'm Jason Powers, and today I've got it live in the studio with me, Daryl Robinson, Regional Director of Small Business Sales from Aetna. Daryl, appreciate you being here. Thanks for coming.
Not a problem. Good morning to you.
We're here to kick off our Q4 Kickoff Summit. I guess I said kickoff twice, didn't I?
That's okay. That's all right.
We're here to learn more about Aetna's AFA product and all things Aetna and what you guys are doing. So
Yeah, we got a few
appreciate
things
you jumping
for
in.
the fourth quarter that we'd like to get the word out on various updates and what. So we appreciate the opportunity to be here for sure.
You're a great partner of ours, and we're excited to have you on. We're excited to talk to our brokers about what's going on with Aetna in Q4 and beyond. So let's get started.
Yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. All right.
So what's new with Aetna for Q4?
Well, really, in terms of just the quick agenda that we'll go through on this next slide, it'll really just cover some high points around financial and contract updates, some plan design updates. We'll talk telemedicine and virtual care that's coming along, and then just some outline of some various administrative updates. So we'll keep it basic. There's probably some other details that we can get into the weeds on, but we'll try to keep it at a higher level. And if somebody needs more detail, we can certainly get that out to you.
That's great. And it really is Q4. I mean, you've got
10-1
updates. These are live in
That's right. This is live.
10-1.
That is correct.
Anybody selling Aetna for October 1, November 1, or December 1, these are the updates. So
that is correct. And I think that's the important thing about our portfolio, what we call portfolio refresh, right? So this is our 10-1 portfolio refresh. So that means any new business on the books for a 10-1 effective date or anything that renews 10-1 or thereafter will move to plans within this newer portfolio. So from a new business standpoint, it's always easy to keep that in mind. It's the renewals that as you get months down the road, always remembering by the time you get to May, June, July of 2023,
right,
those renewals are transitioning to now this portfolio.
Yeah,
So just want to make sure I really emphasize that.
absolutely, they got to keep that in mind
Because sometimes people get tripped up.
Because we don't have just one renewals. We
Yeah, precisely.
we have renewals throughout the year.
That is correct. So really, as of 10-1, so some of the financial changes we've made are around the stop loss. So we're going to reduce our stop loss, our ISL, to 20K down from 30K. And that's a standard across the majority of the states where we offer AFA. And there are details here that those latter four bullets do call out some differences in just a handful of states. We don't need to go through and read everything on here because you're making this available to individuals that can go through and review it in more detail. So the basic change though is reducing our ISL from 30K to 20K. So
what I noticed with that in the quotes that we've seen is that you actually see a little bit of improvement on rate.
Absolutely. Yeah, you do see a little improvement on rate. It's small, but clearly noticeable.
It's noticeable in those smaller groups.
Exactly.
And we've seen
it's a benefit.
Like really increase our success rate.
Sure. And our actuarial modeling, first of all, just to be candid, right? A lot of our competitors were offering down to 20. So part of the motivation is that. Another part of the motivation is looking at the actuarial modeling. It really wasn't going to expose us in terms of risk, in terms of what we're targeting relative to the percentage of groups eligible for surplus. These things were not material adjustments. Yeah. And so we said, for the overall benefit, we'll take it.
Yeah, for sure. And then surplus has changed?
Yes, so the 100%, yeah. So you have now, so we've always had the 100% surplus option, right? Okay. But you would get the surplus whether the group renewed or not. Now, we're changing the 100% surplus option to be similar to the 50-50 surplus option, whereby you simply have to, if you don't renew, you just aren't eligible for the surplus. And that brings down the cost differential substantially. So we're going from, you could have 6 months ago asked for a 100% surplus option, and it might have come out to an additional anywhere from 8 to 12 points.
Right.
Let's just say 10, right in the middle of that, right? And now we're thinking it's going to come around to about 4 points.
Wow.
For the 100% surplus option. So that's kind of where we are on that. And so all we did was just change and say, you just have to renew in order to get the surplus.
Yeah.
And that changes how it's rated.
That's great. That's a great change for Q4. Then are plan designs changing as well?
Yes, so we do have some plan designs and portfolio updates. Again, I don't want to get too deep in the weeds in here, but I think just as an overall comment, what we've done was not really change the core portfolio. So the core portfolio of plans that were there throughout this year and the end of last year are really all still there. What we've done is really make some additions more than anything else. And in large part, these additions are ways to improve some of the cost structure. Now, they're typically based on shifting, in some cases, shifting some of the costs from to the members, right? For example, the ER emergency room plans, adding plans that are deductible plus copay plus co-insurance driven. That clearly has a different member impact, but it can lower the price by up to 5%.
Wow.
And so those are just, and to the extent that you are allowed to install up to 4 plans for anything AFA 10 on up, these are just options that give consultants and agents an opportunity to work with their clients to structure some options within there that are suitable for that population, right? So you might have different base plan options versus what individuals can buy up to.
We're seeing more and more multi-option plans.
Yeah,
And smaller groups too. I mean, these
Exactly.
are not large groups that
Exactly.
are asking for 3
And
or 4
again,
plan
since we
designs.
allow up to 4, it's almost a shame to not really take advantage of some of that to give people an option to buy something that's leaner, as we say, versus a plan option that might be more rich, right?
Yeah.
And so that's all we're trying to do. So again, we have some more plans with the integrated RX plans, and now we've added sort of deductible plus co-insurance, and we've added those couple of plan options. Again, a decrease of approximately 7% versus the nearest or the other richer integrated RX plans.
Wow.
So this just adds another deductible co-insurance element to those plans. But look, if you're looking at the overall deductibles, they're $2,750 and $4,000. So they're not the top of the line, $8,700
Right.
kind of thing.
Right.
So they're not unattainable in that way, but you can experience some really good savings. New plans, now on this side, we decided to add some plans that are richer, right? So there is a demand, and employers do like to offer plan options that have $0 lab and X-ray. That's a big deal.
That's a huge one.
So that's a big one. And so we looked at our portfolio. We're constantly, trying to find competitive information and looking at our cases as we go through, and we win, we lose, we win, we lose, and we just try to analyze, okay, what's going on here. And so understanding that $0 lab and X-ray and getting a couple of those plan options in the portfolio was something that, from a product standpoint, we felt we needed to do. So
and
now
that speaks
those
to member experience, right?
Exactly. Absolutely.
That's less noise for the HR
Correct.
or the business owner.
Correct.
That's less noise for the agent. That's less noise for your customer
That is
service
right.
department.
That is
So
right.
that's
Now,
great.
those plans, you'll see an increase because that's a richer
Yeah.
plan option, right? And so those plans might cost up to 4% more. But again, balancing that with all of the options in terms of having the availability of 4 plans to install.
Yeah, for sure.
And then PCP specialist cost sharing updates. So we did some things there where we either kept the PCP the same or lowered it. In some cases, we've changed the specialist as well. So we tried to just have a different overall balance between those two. So some plans have been updated in that regard. And then some additional plan updates. adding some of the more requested options, the 100%, 50%, $5,000 zero deductible, and the very popular 2,080, 50 seems to be a very popular plan, and then bringing our HSA plans down a little lower and offering a richer HSA plan at the 2250. So those are the plan options.
2080, 50
There
right
you
now.
go. Well, thanks for letting us know that. So, but yeah, so those are some of the plan options that we've done. And again, these are primarily additions. Really, the core portfolio didn't change too much.
So that last one probably explains a lot of these new plan codes that we're seeing.
Sure, yeah.
Right?
Thanks. Yeah,
I get that question a lot. What is a zero LXR?
That's right.
What's the V22?
And so
What's
we
all
just put this
stuff?
little key in here, just, because sometimes it's like reading a map to get through these plan names at times. So we thought it'd be helpful to offer a little key. So you just pointed out the $0 LXR, that's the lab x-ray we just talked about. So that will be part of the plan name. You got the DC that's now added to the integrated RX style plans that we've offered for years now.
Yeah.
But now we added the DC for additional deductible and co-insurance options, which can lean out the plan and lower the cost. You got the specific ER that we just reviewed, and of course the ISL changing. And then the V22 and the 22 we can kind of get into later, but essentially it's a lead into the CVS Virtual Health and the CVS Virtual Care that is coming very soon.
Okay, and that, I guess that's what is that virtual care? What is that?
So that's really that component. I think that might be the next slide.
It is.
Yeah, that might be the next slide. So really, the CVS Virtual Primary Care. This is a total ground up build out, owned by CVS. The staffing and everything else. This is not third party, and so it's really just clearly the pandemic exploded the idea of virtual care, right? That's just undeniable. And so we're just trying to lean in to what that has done. You've got a lot of, more senior members who might not have been as comfortable with telemedicine and virtual care previously. And after the pandemic now, they're leaning into that. They've grown at least, I wouldn't go as far as to say accustomed, but certainly more open to handling their care that way. And more importantly, the younger folks are absolutely demanding access on a virtual basis. So when you have members on your senior end and members on your younger end that are giving you feedback that you really need these options, then it's our responsibility to be responsive to that.
It's interesting that there's obviously over the last few years the workforce is there's a challenge of getting the workforce to come back into the office, let alone getting them back into a doctor's office.
Absolutely. So that's an excellent observation there too. So we have two elements. It's CVS Virtual Primary Care, and then there's also CVS Virtual Care, which is going to be more along the lines of sort of behavioral health and then other minute clinic type services in terms of the virtual care and then the CVS Virtual Primary Care. And once we kick this off, members can go back to in-person. You're not locked into one lane or the other. We will get more details, so I don't want to speak out of turn, but I do know that much, that they're not locked into one lane or another. If they engage in virtual primary care, they can, in fact, if they deem it necessary, move to an in-person primary care visit seamlessly. Wow. So it's an exciting time, and so we're thrilled to be moving in this direction.
We're looking forward to seeing those, and so there's a couple of little highlights on some of what that's going to look like, right?
Yeah, I think the key highlight is the first bullet, that it's only available on the broad network plan. So it's only available on those plans that are CPOS2, our choice POS2 network, our most dense network across the country, and that's the core portfolio for AFA. Yeah. Now, within different geographies, you'll have what we call performance networks, or you'll have Aetna Whole Health, ACO type network options. these virtual options will not be available on those what we call locally based networks. It's only going to be available on our broad, and I think that's the biggest call out. And obviously, like even with Teladoc, it's still the if you're on an HSA, there's still going to be some upfront cost until you meet your deductible.
Till the
But
Fed,
that's
till the
pretty
Fed
basic.
address that, we'll see. We've been talking
We'll
about
see.
it for
We'll see.
the better part of 15 years.
You know, yeah, somebody's got to get a PAC or some other lobbying group in there. We'll see what happens if they make any moves on that.
So, other administrative changes, making
Yeah.
it easier to do business with Aetna, smaller
Absolutely.
groups.
Thanks for using those words,
Yeah.
because internally that's really what we've been focused on is where can we make tweaks and changes in various processes and rules to just be easier to do business with, just
Yeah.
make us easier to engage with. And so we do have a series of, and this is really just a portion. This isn't really all of the detail. I didn't want to get carried away.
Sure.
But some of the bigger ones that you probably have noticed already are participation changes,
Yeah.
moving participation from 50% across the board to 30%. And technically that first sentence there should read 30% for 10 to 50, but we do have the second sentence there that says anything under 10 does remain at 50.
Yeah. Right.
So I'm good on the typo. We got
Yeah.
that corrected. And then a big move for us was changing how we approach professional employer organizations, PEOs. We always had additional requirements related to groups that might be in a PEO or leaving a PEO. And now we've said, we're just going to handle them like any other group based on normal underwriting guidelines without adding any additional requirements or burdens around the idea that they were with or have been with a PEO. So that's a really big move from an underwriting standpoint. We do have extended contracts available upon request. The 15-month contract for AFA is available upon request if you have an agent who has a client who's interested in that.
Sure.
And then we do have at least a temporary offer. I should clarify that, but we do have a temporary offer for the 18-month 51-100 fully insured contract.
That one stood out to me.
Which is available
That's big.
right now for, well, we're pretty much past 10-1 for a 51-100 group, but 11-1,
I can submit
12-1. Yeah, you could. We can handle it, but most people have probably made their decisions in that segment at least.
Yeah.
And 1-1, importantly.
Yeah.
So if there's someone who, we do hear from consultants and agents, they have a client who might be interested in moving off of a 1-1 just because of how hectic 1-1 has become, then that is an option. But right now, it's more of a pilot stage because it's really specifically for the fourth quarter and 1/1/2023. We haven't decided whether or not we'll fully extend that. So I wanted to make sure I clarify that because I didn't add that note in the slide. But both of those offerings are approximately a 1% load.
Wow. That's
For
not
either
a lot.
offer.
That's not a lot to
So,
take on for
yeah.
the extended rate.
So it should be an attractive option. I think there's considerations around, the date, what an employer might choose for their renewal date. But other than that, from a cost standpoint, it probably is a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think the key for brokers to remember on any extended contract is then you're moving the open enrollment date to the new
Absolutely.
anniversary date.
That is correct.
It's not a 1-year open enrollment, it's gonna be a 15 or an 18
That is correct.
to the next open enrollment.
Thank you
So,
for clarifying
yeah.
that. That is absolutely correct. And then the cross-sale discount on dental and vision for 51-100 AFA, it remains a 2% if dental is sold with medical and 2.5 if it's dental and vision. And that same thing actually applies to 51-100 fully insured. The benefit on fully insured is you get the 2 points off the dental as well.
Yeah.
So you not only get the medical benefit, but you get the dental benefit. I know we're focused on AFA, but I thought I'd throw that in.
Yeah.
There.
Now, when it comes to incentives, I know I asked you to kind of really zero in on what kind of incentives, not only for brokers, but also Aetna's got incentives for clients.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let me get through these last 2 bullets here. Drop my pen. Administrative credits, and we'll get into that in more detail here in a second, but also, again, just quickly going back to the employer or the easier to do business with, we've improved the employer application. We've removed a series of different questions, and we've clarified some other language, and we think that the employer application for both employers and their supporting agents will find it easier to work through that. So yes, we can go to the next slide and talk more specifically about the various admin credits that are available to employer groups as a benefit. So this is focused on, there are admin credits still for 10-1 and 11-1, right?
Yeah.
So there are, and you can always talk to your sales rep about specific admin credits for these next two cycles that are closing. But this flyer really focuses on 12-1 and 1-1, okay? And so as we get into 12-1, we're talking about general new business having a $300 admin credit from 2 to 100.
Wow.
Yeah, imagine a 3-life case giving
$600 or no, $900.
$900.
Can do the math, yeah.
It might take several cycles, billing cycles, for them to use that entire admin credit, right?
That's huge.
So that's a nice one there. 51 to 100 new business, a $200 admin credit. Level funded incumbent. So this is, hey, if you're currently level funded, looks like you might be walking away from a surplus, we'll give you a $200 admin credit. And then again, the medical plus dental credits down there. The only thing that's really different is the under 50, right? I talked about the 2% off medical and the 2.5% off medical. What this simply clarifies is on the top line there, I guess the numerator, if we wanted to make a math analogy, the 2 to 50 section is about an admin credit for adding dental, and 225 for adding dental and vision. And that comes in the form of an admin credit rather than a discount on the medical total cost. So that's the only difference there. But I think these are robust options. They're so-called stackable in many cases. So you have a 5-life group that might be currently level funded, and they could wind up with a $500 admin credit. So some of the admin credits, not all of them, but some of them, you are able to, as we call it, stack.
Yeah, and these don't show, I think the key for brokers to know is these aren't going to show up on the proposal. So these are a separate flyer that we can get to as part of the marketing material, downloadable content.
And your sales exec is going to highlight these things if you're presenting us and you call and you say, hey, we're leaning in on Aetna on this. We think we're going. This will all come up to sort of confirm what's available, how much is available, and what have you. So you should expect, even without asking, that your sales exec will certainly clarify all of the available admin credits with any potential sale.
Yeah. Well, and then I know.
But you're right; it's not on the proposals.
Yeah, but if we have the producer appointed with Aetna, they have access to Producer World, where they can get access to resources and tools. And one of those tools that I found was a way to calculate what that admin credit would look like. Is that right?
I believe so. That's out there. It might be in the broker tool.
Next page, I think, is the.
But the next page is the guaranteed surplus. Yes. We still have the guaranteed surplus.
Got it.
So when you talk about, as we say on the slide, savings now, surplus later.
Yeah.
So not only all the upfront admin credits, but then even on the back end, we're continuing to offer a guaranteed surplus. And that's just a huge benefit, clear up to, down to 2A, and then clear up to 100 on AFA. So that's another big bonus there.
That's wild. Yeah, that is the calculator for the surplus, not the admin.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's okay.
So those are incentives for employers coming into
That
December
is.
and January.
That's correct.
Business.
This flyer focuses on December and January.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Now, what about brokers? Do brokers like incentives too?
Brokers like incentives too, and we still have the Broker Excellence Program. It is actually unchanged, carrying from 2022 to 2023. And there's still opportunity, right? We're not done with fourth quarter.
Right.
So if you go to the next slide, you're only talking 5 cases. Somebody could still sell 5 cases before, 12 before or by 12/1, I guess, for the 2022 year, or 15 subscribers or what have you, and still bonus. So there's still plenty of opportunity here late in the year. If you haven't bonused, if you're wondering where you might be, if you've already achieved the bronze threshold and you want to know where you are, getting to the silver threshold, we can get you that information. Just ask the sales exec, and they can provide that to you. So there's still plenty of opportunity here, because the baseline, the entry level, is really quite attainable.
Yeah. 5 cases.
Yeah, 5 cases.
Now when you go down to 2 lives.
Yeah, when you go down to 2 lives, and that's the thing is you have the case count or the subscriber count option.
Right.
So people might look at 75 and say, oh, well, I don't really handle a lot of groups that large, you know. But if you're handling groups under 10, surely you can score 5 cases, right? And so that's the difference. It's an either or.
Or they don't have a lot of groups, but maybe they have 3 25-life cases.
Precisely.
They
exactly. And so having that either or in enabling people to achieve the bronze at 75 per subscriber and getting all the way to gold, or think about 1-1 at this point, right? Yeah. Now, if you focus on 1-1 and come in at the gold level, imagine getting paid 150 per subscriber through all of 2023.
Right.
You know, so the options are there. It's a very good plan. It's been, I think the best thing about it, in my opinion, is it's offered stability in the small group space. You've been in this game a long time.
Yeah.
How often has it been, oh, this quarter we're running this small group on. Oh, well, next quarter we're running this small, and it's always this different and various, and
you get right to the finish line, but you don't quite get there, and then it resets.
And then a whole new program comes out, and so you're constantly sort of learning. This has been a stable offering for, I think this is our 4th year running, and so this is a really excellent way for writing agents to achieve bonus opportunity. And again, as a GA, there's nothing about you helping them as a GA that impacts their bonus opportunity. This is all strictly to the writing agent.
I appreciate you clarifying, because I get that question a lot. Wait a minute, am I getting the bonus?
Am I getting the bonus? Yeah, exactly. No, this is strictly writing agent stuff.
Yeah. And so there's a second stage to this?
Yes, yeah, there's a second piece, which is retention. And so there's opportunities to bonus on retention, starting with 75, achieving at least a 75% retention and going up from there. And it's really all based on what do you have, the subscribers you have on the books on December 31st, right? And then the subscribers you have on the books next year, 2023, at the same time. And it's just a raw calculation straight away. There's not any fiddling with the numbers.
No calculus.
You know, no calculus. It's just a straight, this is the number of subs you have on the books at this point in time. This is the number of subscribers you have on the books at this next point in time. What's the difference?
So you can actually grow in persistency with groups that grow.
Absolutely.
Without actually writing.
Sure. It's just about having
as long as you hit
on
step
the
one by.
As long as you qualify, though, because you do have to have 250 just to qualify for the retention piece. So you do have to have a minimum threshold there.
Yeah, it reminds me of the old block builder programs that were in place for a long time, and then that was all before the.
Yeah.
So I know we're heading into Q4. Any final tips or tricks?
I think this slide says
deadlines?
it all. I just want to remind everyone of what the news and these newsletters are available through Producer World, and so that's readily available. But I thought it'd be good to just highlight here what the upcoming submission deadlines are, and just for people to be aware. You know, I know a lot of small businesses tend to make last minute decisions, but we can only go so far. Before we're just not able to process a new submission. So just be aware of the date.
As we think through that, so if I'm looking at, say, the next cycle that I think I'm primarily focused on is going to be November 1.
Yeah.
We've got to have individual medical questionnaires, the IMQs. We got to have the health statements by October 17th. We've got to have the underwritten quote. That means we've got it back from underwriting, and we have.
No, that's if you're requesting. You have up until, say, October 20th to request an underwritten quote.
Got it.
Yes.
Got it.
So you have up until October 20th, and the IMQ Elite program is you have up until October 17th to actually put in your request for a fully underwritten quote.
Got it.
And then the sales notice is the key. We just got to have the sales notice by the actual effective date. and then it kicks off the DocuSign process, collecting the employer app. So clearly we're still doing some processing past the effective date, and as you can see, it's up to either the 7th or the 9th when you get into the month of January. So it leaves you some days, but we do have to have the sale confirmed at least
By the 1st.
And then we afford everyone a few days to kind of clean up and get all the paperwork sent in. But I would encourage everyone to, hey, talk to your clients, try to make a decision as soon as possible, because coming in with a new sale on the 1st and then somehow expecting that we'll have ID cards by the 5th, that's just not going to work. It doesn't work that way. So help us help you by putting a little pressure on your employer clients to make a decision. Clearly things happen, people get sick or they're out of town, whatever, but let's get those decisions made so that group numbers can be issued, ID cards can get sent out, and everybody's happy, instead of waiting till the last minute and somebody has to get an RX access,
on the weekend.
24 hours after we get the sales notice. Hey, when can I go get my script? It just doesn't work that fast. So please get your submissions in a timely fashion. So I'll make sure to say that. One other thing, exciting thing I do want to mention though, is we did, as of 9/1, we got all of HCA in the metro area added to our I-35 performance network.
That's big.
That's huge. So, we always had Olathe, we had North Kansas City, we had, was out in Lawrence, and Advent, I believe. So we had a series, we called it I-35, so you can imagine kind of where we were initially with the initial build out. And now we've been able to add HCA, which the primary benefit of that really gets us a little further east into the metro.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been a heck of a thing, and our network team worked hard at building that out. So we're excited.
So don't ignore the AFA I-35 CPOS2
That's right.
network name on the plan designs that are out there. In your
Like I said, that's another discount opportunity, right?
Well, and with multi-option, you can pair that with the broader network and
Correct.
and appease anybody in the metro.
That's right. That's right. It's a quality network, and I think it'll be attractive to a lot of particularly smaller employers looking for that baseline to get in. Excuse me.
So keep that in your hip pocket as you're entering Q4 and you're presenting Aetna quotes. Daryl, I absolutely appreciate your friendship and our partnership with Aetna.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate you coming on and jumping on first thing this morning.
Yeah, I know. First thing in the morning, and my little frogger, stayed away till right at the end. So I made it through 90% of it.
That's all we've got here for Aetna. Thank you so much for joining us for this session. Stay tuned for our next session. We'll see you then. Now, before you go, we're going to show you how to navigate back to the lobby, and we'll get you some tips and tricks here.
Thank you for watching this edition of our Carrier Product Update Series. Visit our website to watch other episodes.